A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I begin today by acknowledging the contribution of our forefathers who have helped in creating a world based on freedom and human dignity. I extend my respect to people of diverse culture, faith, colors, and genders, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. I, Christina Shajan, along with my co-host Prakriti Paliwal, students of DME Media School, welcome you to the 6th edition of the world's first 7-day staggered co-location conference, ICAN6. ICAN6 is organized by DME Media School in collaboration with the School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia, and is sponsored by the Indian Council of Social Science Research, ICSSR. This time, ICAN6 is organized in a staggered format, which will take place at 4 different venues across India and abroad. Phase 1 will be held in Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, from 19th to 21 June, and Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad, on 22nd June. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. It offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities. ICAN6 has come with the theme Identity, Culture, and Agenda-Driven Newscast with the hashtag Cultural Identity for Diversity. ICAN6 has support of more than 21 partners. Media partners are The Policy Times, Jai Hind Times, Quick News, and News 44. ICAN6 is powered by Asian Media and Cultural Studies Network Australia, Australia Indian Film Practitioners and Researchers Network Australia, SPARC, the Student Council of DME Media School, and RIM, Research and Innovation in Media Research Center of DME Media School, and Richmond Fellowship Society India, Delhi branch. Since 2018, DME Media School has been organizing the International Conference ICAN. The themes for the former edition were India and Changing Aspects of News in ICAN 1, Indian Cinema and Alternate Networks in ICAN 2, Issues of Community, Agenda and News in ICAN 3, Information, Communication and Artificial Networks in ICAN 4, Inclusivity, Convergence and Alternative Negotiations in ICAN 5, and now ICAN 6 has come with the theme of Identity, Culture and Agenda-Driven Newscast. ICAN 6 will witness a total of 21 sessions, including live sessions, hybrid sessions, and physical sessions. The schedule comprises of 14 technical sessions, 1 workshop, 2 masterclasses, 1 plenary session, 4 panel discussion, and 1 roundtable conference.
I'm happy to share that Journalism at DME is the official newsletter of DME Media School. This fortnightly publication covers all the major activities happening in and out of the campus. It is a student-centric newsletter carried out entirely by them under the supervision of faculty members. DME TV is our official YouTube channel where you can find the playlist related to all sessions, lecture series, film festivals, and conferences. For more information, follow us on our social media handles and YouTube channel DME TV. Today, we have all gathered here for our Masterclass 1 on the topic Cultural Communication as a Soft Power. The chairperson for this session is Professor Dr. Ankuran Datta, Director, Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka. The co-chair of this session is Ms. Garima Jain and Mr. Madhav Sharma, Assistant Professors, DME Media School. Before we proceed ahead, I would like our audience to know more about our session expert. Professor Dr. Ankuran Datta is presently on leave from Guwahati University and rendering his service as the director in the diplomatic rank of First Secretary of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka. Professor Datta is a media educator by profession with an experience of about 19 years and involved in different academic activities in South Asian countries. He has been awarded with the prestigious National Award for Outstanding Efforts in Science and Technology Communication in the Electronic Medium 2018 by the NCSTC DST Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. Professor Datta has been also nominated as member of the Board of Advisors of Institute of International Journalism, Ohio University, USA, a member of Executive Committee of Indian Science Writers Association, and member of Advisory Panel for Reviewing and Editing Lok Sabha Secretariat Publications, Parliament of India. I would now invite Professor Dr. Ankuran Datta sir to take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Prakriti and Christina. Very good afternoon to all of you. And this is really a pleasure always to be here with Delhi Metropolitan Education's Media School. And I'm really delighted to be here in this masterclass of ICAN6, which is the broad theme is Identity, Culture, Agenda-Driven Newscast. This is very pertinent during this time, and that is why I have chosen this topic, cultural communication, as a soft power. Culture is no longer only a ritual or some performances. Culture is more beyond all these things. At the very outset, I would like to really thank Professor Ambarish Saxena, who is the Dean of DME Media School, and the Head of the Department of DME Media School, Dr. Susmita Bala, and co-chairs of this session, Garima Jain and Madhav Sharma. I would really like to thank all of you, all dear students, all the delegates and the participants. I have already, yesterday's in the video message also, I have informed that this is the most sustained media conference in India and perhaps in the Southeastern region. We have organized many conferences, but we couldn't sustain in the media conferences every year. But last in 6 years, with the very bad experiences of during the time of COVID as well. So ICAN in Delhi Metropolitan Education Media School is continuously and without any break consecutively for last 6 years have been organizing this conference. I really would like to congratulate the entire team of Delhi Metropolitan Education's media schools. So I would like to go through this presentation today. Can you share my presentation?
Yes, sir. I will be starting with the presentation.
How I am going to design this entire presentation today. Yeah, you can just share it. And thank you. Next slide. I would like to dedicate this masterclass to Dr. Anamika Ray, who has started actually science communication as a part in the Northeastern media education. This is a broad outline of the class. It's okay, you can go to the next slide. So we would like to also try to, because the main theme is culture, please go to the previous slide, the outline. So we'll basically discuss about the culture. That's what we understand by the term culture, then cultural communication or communication and culture, and cultural communication as a soft power. Then we will also discuss about the wellness, language and literature, cinema, music and dance, cuisine and other areas. How all these different elements of culture can play a role of a soft power. Yeah, please go to the next slide. So before going to start this, I would like to wish all of you today's Rath Yatra, and on this occasion, so I have also added one very recent today's photograph of from Bhubaneswar, from Puri, Rath Yatra, and so with this only, this note that I would like to start today's discussion. Culture can be defined in many ways. Culture can be defined primarily way of life, including the arts, beliefs, all our institutions, and of a population, a particular community that are passed down from one generation to another. So that is the reason that culture is believed as the way of life for an entire society. Next slide. The shifting demography, the present situation, the culture, how we can define the culture and what we believe about the culture. Shifting demography of the world demands a rooted yet pragmatic idea of culture. That means the people are moving in and from different places, leading to the admission of the assimilation of the culture, making it very cosmopolitan. I hope that you can understand that the people in the one culture is not like that culture few years back. The culture is alive. Culture is a living thing. So the people who are coming into that culture and going from that particular culture, all of them, they have actually they have designed an assimilated culture and which is very cosmopolitan, which is not only belong to one particular group of people, but also it is very cosmopolitan, with different ideas are associated with that. So with the passage of time, our way of life has changed, so did our culture. And we have traditional and contemporary from all kinds of art, culture, literature, which is a continuous process. Culture is not static. It is not still. It is a state. It is a continuous process. So our earlier culture was different. Now it has changed. So it is like we are it is in that process that we have some traditional culture. Also, we have now some contemporary culture of all the elements of culture, including the art, culture, literature, etc. Can you go to the next slide? It is important in the next slide because there are two very renowned personalities in the cultural studies who have given, who have given a few ideas about the definition of culture. One is Professor Raymond Williams, and other is Professor Stuart Hall. So Raymond Williams, and he has only said that the culture is one of the the most complicated words in the English language. And he has given the idea that culture is ordinary. What does it mean that culture is ordinary? He said that culture is something that is alive, moving. It is not something that some people have and some don't. So culture is a kind of a continuous process. What does it mean? It is, or what he has said, that culture is ordinary. That means that culture is not elite. Culture is ordinary. That means culture is for all the people. It is not for a particular elite class or for a particular category of people. And later on, in different philosophers, they have also expanded in a very different way that the culture is not ordinary, it is extraordinary. Apparently, the high point of civilization. So in this view, that culture is a sum of the great ideas as represented in the classic works of literature, painting, music, philosophy. All these are together in culture. So, other hand, also there are some people, they believe that the culture is a form of significance that circulates within a society, and that is why it can perform extraordinarily in the diplomatic relations as a soft power of the country. Can you go to the next slide? So here we would like to discuss about the culture and communication, and the relationship between the both cultural communication is a very complex but very intimate one. Please go to the next slide. first one is like cultures are created through communication. So it is very important to understand that the culture is created by, previous slide. Previous slide, please. Culture is created by through communication, and that is communication is a means of human interaction, as we know all these different ways of communication. Yeah, this slide. The next slide, please. Yes, wait here. So that the communication means of human interaction. Don't go to this slide, please go to the previous slide and wait there. Culture and communication. There is a slide on culture and communication. So in a sense, that culture, yeah, please wait here. Culture are the residue of social communication. Without communication and communication media, it would be impossible to preserve and pass along cultural characteristics from one place to another. One can say that therefore that the culture is created, shaped, transmitted, and learned through communication. This is very important that culture, many people believe that culture is created, shaped, transmitted, and learned through communication. On the reverse side, also that is the communication practices are largely created, shaped, and transmitted by culture. So both the culture and communication, I hope you can understand that both are so interrelated that many people, many philosophers, they believe that the culture is created by the media and communication, or shaped and transmitted and learned from the communication. But at the same time, there is also the reverse thing that the media is, or the media and communication practices. I shouldn't confine to media, but the communication practices are largely created and shaped and transmitted by the culture. So let's go to the next slide now. This is now I'm not going to linger on this particular issue of the concept of culture and the contemporary culture and also the communication and culture. But I would like to give you a few examples that how we can use Indian culture as a soft power. So there is a very beautiful book also I would like to recommend you to read this particular book. It is called Connecting Through Culture, an overview of India's soft power strengths. This book is edited by Dr. Binoy Sahasrabuddhe and Professor Sachidanand Joshi. So there are lots of areas covered in this particular book that how culture can be used as a soft power. I would like to use, start with a quotation of the founder of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, Abdul Kalam Azad, where he spoke about the unified society in diversity in his presidential address at Ranbur session of the Indian National Congress in the year 1940. I quote, "Our language, our poetry, literature, society, our tastes, our dresses, our traditions, and the innumerable realities of our daily life bears the seal of a common life and a unified society. Our social intercourse for over 1,000 years has blended into a united nationalism." Such a beautiful concept he has given about the united nationalism. And he also said that when man cultivated the soil, he cultivated his mind as well. So as he says that cultivation of the mind found expression in art, music, dance, as well as in food, attire, behavior. So culture represents everything. That is our four founding fathers of different cultural organizations of India. So they believe that the culture represents everything. Please go to the next slide. So now I would like to discuss a little bit about culture as a soft power. So cultural diplomacy is a type of public diplomacy that is, and the soft power, it includes the exchange of ideas, information, art, language, and other aspects of culture among nations and their people in order to foster mutual understanding. So cultural roots, if you go through nowadays, that every country, they have different cultural organizations they use as a method of public diplomacy, and to basically to foster the mutual understanding between the people of both the countries. Two countries, they want to develop the people-to-people relationship, people-to-people connection, and the mutual understanding. So that is why exchange of ideas, for example, if I would like to mention here, like Natya Sastra, or Bharat Muni's Natya Sastra. If you go through that, it is such a beautiful treaty written in 6,000 verses, and which is categorized in 36 chapters. Just imagine, that is the idea. And idea is so beautifully designed that in every classical dance forms, you can just relate with that ideas. Okay. So these are the ideas that if you can just discuss and share with the other people. Information about a country through culture, art, language, literature, all these aspects are very important as a soft power and the culture. Soft power has the ability to obtain preferred outcomes by attraction rather than coercion or payment or any other methods. So that is why it doesn't require that power, that the hard power. So it is believed as a soft power. Can you go to the next slide? There is a very interesting quotation I have taken from UNESCO. Next slide, please. Yeah, in this quotation, it has said that in a globalized, interconnected world where countries are increasingly interdependent, cultural diplomacy can be critical to foster peace and stability by supporting mutual understanding, trust, and exposure to cultural diversity. It enhances international relations in many areas of cooperation. It is such a beautifully mentioned by UNESCO about the power of the cultural diplomacy. Can you give me just 1 second? So a country's soft power comes primarily from 3 sources I have just written here. One is the political, the culture, its culture. Secondly, political values such as democracy. So we always say that India is the largest democracy of the world. And so that is our political value. And at the same time, the policies, that what kind of policies that we have adopted for different aspects. So these 3 are very important important aspects of one country's soft power. So cultural diplomacy is the key type of public diplomacy strategy, including various aspects of language, theater, dance, art, literature, music, religion, history, food, and more as a method for building understanding between the people of different countries. Please go to the next slide. Now, I would like to give you some examples. I hope that till now you can understand that the culture, how culture is used as a soft power. Okay, so we always discuss culture from different other areas. Okay, culture as a traditional knowledge bearer, culture as a communication. All these we always discuss. But here we wanted to discuss about the culture is a power. Culture is a very important power for a country. So now I would like to give you a few examples that how India uses culture as a soft power and cultural diplomacy. One is wellness, because nowadays all the people are very, very cautious about their wellness, not fitness. I always say that generally it is said that yoga is considered as in the many Western countries and Western societies, it is believed that yoga is a method of fitness. But yoga is considered as a method of wellness. It improves the strength, balance, and flexibility. And also it works, how it works. That is why we always use the term yoga. It is not yoga, it is yoga, or in Hindi, yog. Yog means the connection. How we can connect and with whom we connect. We connect with our body, mind, and our breathing. That is our, all these three things we need to connect through yoga. And that is why yoga is broadly classified into 4 different areas, like karma yoga, that is where we use our body, bhakti yoga, where we use our emotions, jnana yoga, where we use our mind and intellect, and kriya yoga, where we use our energy. So that is why this yoga is a very, very important area of Indian culture. And as all of you know that tomorrow we are going to observe worldwide the 9th International Day of Yoga, and which was started from 2015. And this time our Honorable Prime Minister is going to demonstrate, he's going to take part in yoga program in the United Nations. And so tomorrow, and it is a very important event for us and worldwide. Nowadays, during the time of 2014, when it was placed to have a separate day for International Day of Yoga, just imagine 170 countries accepted the proposal. They ratified the proposal. So yoga became a connection between India and the other countries. So observing International Day of Yoga is also very, very important in the cultural aspects for India. Secondly, as you know that nowadays Ayurveda has also a very lots of importance in different places. And so that is why that Ayurveda, yoga, these are very important areas and which are related to the wellness of the human being. Next slide, please. Next, I would like to discuss about the language and literature. So there are 2-3 important issues that I would like to discuss here. That language basically helps in making actual connection with the people, broaden the horizon that students or any other people can explore. Suppose if I can speak a language in a foreign country, it is more easier to reach the people. So language plays a very important, very pivotal role to connect with the people of different countries. So that is why Sanskrit is considered as the oldest language of wisdom. As I have mentioned just now that about Ayurveda, imagine thousands and thousands of years ago, there were lots of treatises, there were lots of books written in Sanskrit about Ayurveda. And one particular book is Charaka Samhita that has 138 chapters, and where even he just tried to mention about and very clearly actually mentioned about surgery. Okay, so language is a very big power. And in many countries, Sanskrit is taught as a, not only because that it has lots of knowledge, but also for the taste of literature, like Kalidasa's all the literary creations, Avigyana Sakuntalam, Ritu Sanharam, Raghuvansam, Meghadutam. All these are very important literature that are popular worldwide. Again, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's works are also popular throughout the world, and they are translated into all the major languages of the world. Of course, all of them cannot be translated because Gurudev Tagore has written a lot. He wrote like more than 100,000 printing pages in different ways. And so, of course, all of them cannot be translated, but many of them translated into all major languages of the world. Hindi is another very, very important way of culture, and that can connect the people. In the entire world, 615 million speakers speak Hindi. As per the ethnologue of the 22nd ethnologue has mentioned that Hindi became the third most spoken language in the world. So even in many countries, Hindi is taught. In all different cultural centers of India, Hindi is taught as like the other countries also, they have their own languages. For example, you can see Goethe Institute in different places in the world. So they promote German language. So similarly, different countries, cultural centers, they try always to use the language. And so language is a very, very important cultural diplomacy, language and literacy both. Can you go to the next slide, please? So cinema is, it is not, I don't want to say many things about cinema, but I hope that you understand that Indian cinema has a very rich and very large audience in the entire world. And also we are the largest producer of cinema. We produce nearly 2,000 cinema every year, not only in Bollywood, but also in other regional cinema. And all other regional cinema are also very, very popular. Bollywood covers like 44-45% of the total Indian cinema, but Tamil, Telugu, like 17%, 19% respectively. And also other different regional cinema has a lots of fan followers in different countries. Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam cinemas are very, very popular in different countries. And so in this statistics also, you can see that overseas box office collection of the Indian films amounted to around $250 million only in 2022. So you can understand that cinema is a very important tool of cultural communication. Cinema is a very important tool of cultural diplomacy too. So cinema can, with the Indian cinema, we can expose to many diverse culture of the country. So, and also we can establish a mutual understanding in many areas through cinema. That is why cinema is very, very important for us. Next, please. Indian music and dance, as you know that we can categorize Indian music into different forms like classical music, folk music, rock, pop, etc. But classical music, again, we can categorize into Hindustani music and Carnatic music. And also we have dance forms as per Sangeet Natak Academy. We have 8 classical dance forms, and all these 8 classical dance forms, all of them may not be very, very popular in different places of the world, but Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Mohiniyattam, these are a few dance forms very popular in many countries. So when try to understand the cultural power, the soft power, when a student of a foreign land, when a student is learning Bharatnatyam, definitely that particular person, that student is adopting the culture. So it creates the bonding between both the countries. When a person is even singing a Bollywood song, it basically establishes that relationship between both the countries. As I have mentioned that for our India's worldview, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is also the our theme of G20 presidency. So India's worldview resonates with the cultural outcome or cultural perspectives of the country. Go to the next. Another very important area is cuisine. So Indian food is very, very popular in the world. Like India, as I have mentioned, that food culture is shaped by climate, land, and access to natural resources. The food of Northeast is very different from the food of North India. So again, South Indian foods are also different, but all these foods are very, very popular in different places. And we have like thousands and thousands of years history of Indian cuisine, and masala or the spices and the herbs of India are very popular in the world. And it also communicates. It also communicates to the culture, the food culture, with the food culture. And it helps to grow the understanding between two countries. Next slide, please. I'm not going to take much of your time, but some other important areas like Indian art forms, Indian craft, Indian textile. As I told, India's worldview, nowadays neighborhood first is our India's policy, and democracy. Democracy is very, very important because India is a leading democratic country, and we believe India is the largest democratic country. So the political value is also very, very important to disseminate with the different people of the world. Then philosophies, we have a lot of, it is a land of philosophy. So Gandhian philosophy, Tagore's philosophy, philosophy of Sri Aurobindo, philosophy of Lord Buddha. So all these are very, very important as a cultural aspects to connect with the people of other countries. And traditional knowledge system, all these are very important areas that we always work with cultural communication with different other countries. So I would like to thank you. I don't want to say much and don't want to explain further, because what I have already explained, I hope that I have given a kind of a different area that how culture can be not only used as a weapon of communication or social transformation, or what we can generally nowadays, we very popularly, we say that communication for development or social and behavioral change. So culture always plays a very pivotal role in all these areas, but culture also plays a very important role to establish a mutual understanding between the people of different countries. So this was my idea to just discuss with you. I'll be very happy to answer any of questions. So I hope that you could get the point that what basic idea that I would like to share with you.
Yes, sir, absolutely. We totally got all the points. So we have Ashish, sir, who has raised the hand. So I'll just unmute Ashish, sir. I have sent you the request. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. My question is like, we are talking about Indian culture, the acceptance of Indian culture in the world scenario. I just want to know, like, say that in India, are this generation, the current generation, how much they are aware of our own culture? If I talk about Patachitra, the various dance forms, like classical music, the actual traditional classical music, the puppetry, it's we ourselves are not giving that much importance to our own culture. So how do you see this?
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Chatterjee. So India, when you stay abroad, then only you can realize that India is a very vast country. It is a very populous and very big country. So I understand your fear also that whether our new generation are whether they are accustomed with our culture or not. But you will be surprised to know that there are lots of people who are working in different ways. Of course, some of the traditional methods of communication or the culture are not very visible in different ways, like for example, that you have given Patachitra or like puppetry. But there are many organizations, and more particularly the development organizations, who have been continuously working and reviving all these old traditional culture to disseminate the development messages. For example, I can give you my own example that during the time of COVID, we prepared lots of puppet shows to create awareness on COVID. And they became very, very popular. And you will be surprised to know that, of course, we understand with the popular culture and more particularly with the gadgets like mobile phone and computer, the entire world has been changed. But at the same time, when we went to the remote places with a puppet show, we'll be surprised to see that the enthusiasm among the people, among the young people, among the children, they are so used to watch the cartoon films, but they are so happy to see the puppet characters. So that is why I understand that the culture is, as I told at the beginning, culture is alive. We can't make it static. The culture 100 years ago was different than now. It is like almost like a river. We can't stop it. So it will flow and the culture will also change as we grow. For example, I think I have joined after a long time in a online session. So many people may also see that my face has been changed a little bit. So we grow, like, and similarly culture also grow. We can't, it is actually, we very colloquially, we always say that this culture is bad, the earlier culture was good. It is very difficult to say that, difficult to judge as well. For earlier culture, there are lots of justifications that why that culture may not be good in the present context. At the same time, the people who are very used to the earlier culture, they cannot accept the new culture. As I told, that the people are coming into the society, going out to the society, forming different culture. And so that is why we have to flow with that culture and with India's traditional culture. And you will be really, I would like to request you to go through the Indian Council for Cultural Relations social media handling. You'll be surprised to see that many people, hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people gather to see one classical performance in different countries, which we have so much of variety, like from tabla, harmonium to sitar, Veena, Rudra Veena, Mohini Veena. Okay, so all these performances are so popular in different places of the world. So that is why, but it is true, you are true, that somehow I also feel that the cultural sensitivity is going a little lesser in comparison to the earlier days. So it is our duty that how we can promote the cultural sensitivity among the young generation of the country.
I completely agree with you. It is our responsibility to give them the actual essence, the beauty of our culture. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Okay, so we have our next question from one of our students. Due to some technical issues, she is not able to join, but she has shared her question. So the question is, how can cultural communication can be used to promote peace and security.
As I told, it is a power. Just don't consider culture as a communication or culture is a ritual. It is a power, and you can't imagine. The soft power is the biggest power. Okay, with the hard power, you can destroy something, but you can't change the emotions. You can't change the thinking process. You can change the mind of the people. That is only the culture that you can change. When you read, for example, if you, last week, I'm just, it is more informal and I would like to make it more conversational. I was watching Do Bigha Zameen. Bimal Roy's, that was a landmark work on Do Bigha Zameen. See, all these stories we heard in our childhood, that like the Jamindar and all the exploitations in that during that society. The Do Bigha Zameen is based on a poem of Rabindranath Tagore, Dui Bigha Zameen. And that poem, Dui Bigha Zameen, it is translated into a screenplay, okay, by Rishikesh Mukherjee, okay, who made this one. Oh no, it's Salil Chaudhary. Okay, he made it from, he prepared a story out of that particular poem. See, to portray that particular issue during that time, and it is a kind of evergreen film that now also, and all other Bimal Roy's films like Madhumati, and then Bandini. Okay, so all these films are so important power that you can actually make peace in the society also. There is something, there is showing some different in all these films that you can understand the power, hard power, in a very small narrative. It is not like a country-wise broader narrative or broader perspective. So in a small narrative also, that the power is always, hard power is there, but the sustained power is the soft power. Hard power is not sustained. It is very kind of the line is very thin. Okay, it can be broken anytime. Only it can change, and whenever this, even see Do Bigha Zameen was so popular worldwide. It is not only, I'm not going to other films like Ray's film. Every year in Los Angeles in Academy, so Satyajit Ray's films are screened, and hundreds of people are always waiting, and every year they watch the same trilogy. Okay, so just imagine that how it is so powerful, and that again I would like to say that soft power only can be establish a relationship which can be sustained.
Thank you so much, sir. Christina, please.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful session. We have with us Dr. Amrish Saxena, Professor and Dean of DME Media School. He is the convener of ICAN6. I invite sir to address the gathering.
Before that, can I take 1 minute? With your permission. Yeah. So in this platform again, at the very beginning, I don't know whether you were there or not, but the very beginning, just I started with that effort that ICAN is the most sustained media conference that has been organizing by DME Media School for consecutively last 6 years. And The credit goes to the entire team headed by Professor Ambrish Saxena, the Dean of the DME Media School, and also Professor Susmita Bala, the head of the Department of DME Media School, and all faculty members and all others who are associated with. I really would like to congratulate and offer my sincere gratitude to all of you, and more particularly Saxena ji. It is really, I organize many events, but consecutively organizing and sustained one media conference is very difficult. So I really hats off for all your reports.
Thank you. I mean, I must add this to what you said, and that it has become possible with the support of people like you. Otherwise, it's not possible. I mean, obviously, you know this, and there are a lot of such people who are always available whenever I request them to be there. So that is how we are able to build it up. And definitely then the team that I have, I build the team, I rebuild the team when some people leave and some people come, but then that synergy is there. Wherein everybody, whether senior or junior, everybody is contributing to his or her bit, and that is how it is becoming possible. And this year, obviously, and every time, I mean, since you raised this point, every time we try to not only simply repeat the conference, but to add something which is of value. So that the constant interest of the people remain there. And this time we did this experiment. Hopefully we will accomplish it successfully. We are in multiple venues experiment we tried. So 4 different venues it's happening, which was initial thought when it came to my mind. I was not knowing that how it become possible. But now the way Professor KG Suresh has extended the support. So 1 full day will be in Bhopal and then 2 days in Daffodil International University with the support of Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary. So if like-minded people are there who are ready to do something good together, then obviously anything is possible. I was listening to it because otherwise in most of the sessions, what is happening since is online and on-site both are happening almost parallel or simultaneously. For me, it's becoming difficult to sit and to listen and to get benefit of that session. But somehow, most of the time, I remained there in this session and listened. And it was really, really a wonderful session wherein so many facets of culture were uncovered. We all know what culture is, but then the way we use it in different connotations, in different contexts, in different ways, there obviously a lot of problem arises. So if there is more clarity as to what culture is and how culture is transmitted and how it is carried beyond boundaries, and how one important thing which will remain there for centuries, that is culture which remains binding us all. So a very, very nice interpretation of the whole thing. And then as Dr. Ankuran Datta decided to link it to the soft power. So in the diplomatic circuit, it is now an established thing, and India has done this in a big way with success, that how, because of the culture, Indian culture, we can have good relations with our neighbors, with all those countries with whom we have been connected in one way or the other through culture, whether it's Sri Lanka or whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Cambodia. I mean, there's a long list of these countries, and this is one way that we can even counter the knowledge of the West and the networking of the West, if I talk about the political front or the diplomatic front. So it was indeed a very, very fruitful session, and clearly linking to the theme when I decided with the theme that time also, because gradually I have also learned so many things, and I have learned this in talking about a very hardcore journalism or the communication related thing will not do unless you relate it to other sectors, to other streams of knowledge. And that is how, though ICAN being essentially a media conference, I have every time try to have such kind of theme wherein we can have these kind of connections. So that is how this time it was identity, culture, and then obviously the newscast. So I'm really happy to listen to you, Dr. Ankuran Datta, and I'm really grateful the contribution despite all busy schedule. We know that tomorrow it's a big day and you are greatly involved into organizing that. But despite this, you spared so much time. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. Susmita Bala, Professor and Head DME Media School and Chief Associate Convener of ICAN6 to give concluding remarks.
Thank you, Prakriti. First of all, thank you to Ankuran Datta. Yes, you're right. Our culture is so strong because we feel how many films you talked about Gandhi philosophy, Tagore philosophy, Buddha philosophy, and language and films. So it's a very, very strong that to talk about. So culture is an integral part of our life. It is something which tie us together. It goes beyond boundaries. It brings people together. It brings countries together. This master class of Dr. Ankuran Datta was excellent. बहुत देर नहीं सुना था, लेकिन जितना भी सुना बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि I'm talking about language, even Indian languages, dialects and other things. All the time, मेरी exercise ये होती है कि मैं लोगों को बोलूं कि अपने culture, अपनी जो society है, जो परिधान है उनके बारे में बात करूं. तो वो शायद थोड़ा orthodox भी लगता है, लेकिन I like this. So excellent master class. Thank you, Dr. Ankuran.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we come to the conclusion of this session. I would like to thank Professor Dr. Ankuran Datta for his valuable time and sharing his experience with us. I extend my gratitude to the management and leadership team of DME. Heartfelt thanks to Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena for his guidance. Dr. Susmita Bala for giving us directions and support at every stage of this conference. Special thanks to the faculty members and staff of Media School for executing all the sessions. I would also like to thank the production and the technical team for providing the technical support. Special thanks to the newsletter and media coordination and social media team for the coverage of the event. I would also like to thank the designing team for creative support. I also wish to thank the administrative staff of DME. Special thanks to our conference partners, knowledge partners, international partners, and media partners. The recordings of all the sessions of ICAN6 can be accessed through our official YouTube channel, DME TV. Follow our social media handles, ICAN page and DME page, and subscribe to DME TV. Next, we have a masterclass 2 at 7:30 p.m. on the topic Writing and Publishing Academic Books, co-chaired by Dr. Deeman Chattopadhyay. Till then, I, Prakriti Paliwal, and Christina Sajan will now take your leave. Till then, stay tuned for many exciting sessions at ICAN6. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.